Bill Goldberg's WCW career is a story of rapid ascent, immense popularity, backstage resentment, questionable booking, and the unraveling of a company that never quite understood how to handle its biggest homegrown star. His rise and fall mirrored WCW's own meteoric trajectory in the late 1990s, a company that once looked unstoppable but quickly became a cautionary tale in professional wrestling history. Goldberg was signed by WCW after his NFL career ended due to injury. He was scouted at the WCW power plant, where trainers noted his raw athleticism and unmatched intensity. From the beginning, the idea was to keep things simple. He wasn't taught to chain wrestle or cut promos. Instead, they focused on creating an aura. Those two moves, combined with his silent intensity and intimidating physique, made him a unique presence on the roster. In a world of elaborate gimmicks and catchphrases, Goldberg's appeal was primal. His debut on September 22, 1997, against Hugh Morris wasn't expected to launch a phenomenon, but that's exactly what happened. The crowd responded almost instantly to this intense, no-nonsense powerhouse. His undefeated streak began quietly, but gained momentum quickly. WCW leaned into it, inflating his win count on television. While records say he went 173-0 before his first loss, wrestlers and insiders have long claimed the number was inflated for effect. Kevin Nash once laughed about it in a shoot interview, saying, "They had him beating guys on his days off." The mystique around Goldberg grew. He never wrestled twice in one night and was rarely seen in backstage skits. When he did speak, it was brief, simple declarations like, "Who's next?" and always followed by destruction. WCW capitalized on this by giving him one of the most dramatic entrances in wrestling. He would walk from his locker room, flanked by security, with smoke and pyros engulfing him before he entered the ring. WCW had stumbled into gold, and for a while, they treated him like it. In 1998, he began rising up the card, defeating mid-carders and upper mid-carders in short, brutal matches. He captured the United States Championship from Raven in April of that year, again in dominant fashion. The crowd reaction wasn't just loud, it was unrelenting. WCW fans viewed Goldberg as a true alternative to the cartoonish antics of the New World Order, which by that time was bloated and stale. This momentum led to a match with Hollywood Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight title on July 6, 1998, in front of a sold-out Georgia Dome. This match, booked for free on Nitro rather than pay-per-view, drew one of the biggest television audiences in WCW history. Over 40,000 fans packed the Dome, and Goldberg was treated like a hometown hero. He beat Hogan clean in the middle of the ring, with a spear and jackhammer. No interference, no controversy. For that one night, WCW felt invincible, and Goldberg stood atop the wrestling world. But not everyone was happy behind the scenes. Hogan allegedly agreed to the match with the understanding that he would eventually get the title back. Kevin Nash, who had increasing backstage influence as part of the booking committee, was seen by many as angling to take the title from Goldberg. Some veterans felt Goldberg hadn't earned his spot. William Regal, then wrestling as Steven Regal, supposedly went off script during a match with Goldberg earlier in the year, forcing him into technical wrestling exchanges that exposed his inexperience. Regal later claimed he was told to give Goldberg a real match. Others believed it was a quiet protest. Goldberg didn't take kindly to the move, and the match became infamous. The streak continued until December 27, 1998, when it ended in one of the most poorly received finishes in WCW history. At Starrcade, Goldberg faced Kevin Nash. Near the end of the match, Scott Hall, disguised as a security guard, entered the ring and shocked Goldberg with a cattle prod. Nash followed with the jackknife powerbomb and pinned Goldberg. Just like that, the streak was over. Fans were outraged. The finish wasn't just overbooked. It felt like a betrayal of what had made Goldberg special. The following night only made things worse. On Nitro, WCW executed the infamous finger poke of doom angle, where Nash lay down for Hogan after a finger poke so carefully now seemed like just another cog in the machine. Goldberg still remained popular, but he was no longer unbeatable. WCW booked him in longer matches, which exposed his weaknesses. His feud with Bret Hart in late 1999 started strong, but everything changed at Starrcade that year when Goldberg accidentally delivered a stiff kick to Hart's head, giving him a serious concussion. Hart tried to continue, but repeated symptoms and further injuries ended his career prematurely. Hart later said, "Goldberg had no business being in the ring. He was reckless." This incident has haunted Goldberg's legacy, despite his apologies and regret. As WCW entered its death spiral in 2000, they made a baffling decision. They turned Goldberg heel. The turn came during a match against Kevin Nash, where Goldberg aligned with Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff. The idea was to shake things up, but fans immediately rejected it. Even Goldberg admitted it was a terrible idea. Despite efforts to force the turn, crowds kept cheering him. WCW gave up and turned him face again a few months later. There was also the ill-fated Goldberg Streak 2.0 storyline in late 2000, where he had to re-earn his way to the top and beat everyone in a row or be fired. The stipulation was convoluted and made little sense. Instead of restoring his dominance, it made him look like a guy chasing his own past. Backstage, morale was low, and booking was erratic. Goldberg's matches often felt like they were being written weak. He couldn't stop the inevitable. By early 2001, WCW was on life support. Goldberg's contract was among the highest in the company, and he remained loyal, even as others began to jump ship. He was still one of the few bankable draws left, but when WCW was sold to AOL Time Warner and later acquired by a rival promotion, Goldberg's contract was paid out through Time Warner. He didn't wrestle again for years. Eric Bischoff later reflected, "We had lightning in a bottle with Goldberg. We just didn't know how to hold on to it." Goldberg's WCW career is a rare case in wrestling, where someone went from unknown to main event star practically overnight. His rise was unrepeatable, a mix of timing, crowd connection, and real-world intensity that made him feel legit. But it also exposed WCW's biggest flaw. They could build a star, but they had no idea what to do once he was built. The streak gave him godlike momentum, but when it ended, they didn't have a follow-up plan. Political infighting, bad storytelling, and poor leadership slowly chipped away at what made Goldberg so special. Yet, to this day, when wrestling fans talk about WCW's brightest moments, the image of Goldberg standing tall, championship in hand, surrounded by tens of thousands of fans chanting his name, remains one of the few untainted memories of a company that otherwise lost its way.